Welcome back. Today we are going to continue talking about pyramids, which we started in your last class. We talked about their volume. Today we are talking about surface area of pyramids. So if you recall, a pyramid is a three-dimensional object that comes together. It's kind of hard to hold. It's got one base, and then all of these lateral faces are the sides, and then it comes up to a point. That point is called the apex, which you don't need to know that, but just so you do know, in case you're wondering, that point is the apex. So the height of a pyramid, we used that to find the volume. When you look at the pyramid, the height is like if I were to take something and drop it from this top point straight down, how far would it go? That's the height. And then there's another height that we talk about, which is the slant height, which that's when you flatten out the pyramid and it looks like this. That's your net. The slant height is the height of one of those triangles that goes along the side. And when it's actually like in its pyramid form, that slant height is actually kind of on a diagonal. That's why it's called the slant height, but it's the height of one of those sides. And we'll be using that today to help us find the surface area. So if we look at this three-dimensional drawing of a pyramid, you recall that inside of it, you've got something that is a right triangle, right here. Your height is the actual height of the triangle, and the slant height, is what goes along the side of, maybe I should not use cursive here. The slant height is what goes along the side, right? Like it goes along one of the triangles along the lateral face there. Okay, so once again, we have our formulas. Today we're talking about surface area. So our surface area formula for a pyramid is area of base plus 1/2 perimeter of base times slant height. So we're working with the same triangles we worked with yesterday. So let's see here. First of all, we can just do a quick refresher on the area of base. Area of base for number 1 is, well, it's got one side that is 6. So I would take 6 times 6 equals 36. That's because the base is a square, right? So all of those sides are 6. So then I need the perimeter of the base because that's a part of my formula. So it's a square, so it's got 4 sides, and all of those sides have the length of 6. So that gives me 24 units. And then my slant height is given to me as 5. Okay, so to find the surface area of a prism with a square base, a pyramid with a square base, you take the area of the base, we only have one of them, plus 1/2 times the perimeter of the base times your slant height. I've got all that information on the side, okay? So here I'm just filling in, okay? So 36 plus 1/2 times 24 times 5. That will give me the full surface area. So I'm going to do 36 plus 1/2 times 24 times 5. So I get for my total surface area here, surface area is equal to 96 square units because I'm talking about surface area. Now, for those of you who are at home, who are curious about why we use perimeter of the base times the slant height, recall one of these triangles is a part of the surface area, right? So to find the area of one of these, I would take 1/2 my base right here times the slant height. That gives me 1. But I've got 4 of them, and if you think about it, all of their bases are actually created by the perimeter of the square that is my base, okay? So if I just want to let you know where it comes from, right? If you're just using the formula, that's fine. But if you're like, why do we use perimeter of the base times the slant height? Well, that's why. Okay, so next problem, area of my base. Once again, I can just find it right away. I know that one of my sides is 10, so all of my sides are 10, so 10 times 10 equals 100 square units. Perimeter of my base, it's a square, so 4 times 10 gives me 40. In this case, I don't have the slant height. Remember, the green is the slant height that I'm looking for. So I actually do need to do some Pythagorean theorem to find it. So my full side length is 10 down here. So I need to cut that in half. I'm gonna use a different color so you can see it a little better. So this right here, if I take the 10 and cut it in half, that would be 5. So now I've got this right triangle that has a base of 5, a height of 8, and L is my slant height. That's my hypotenuse in this triangle, which a bunch of you commented about. And we need to determine what that is, so I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem. 5 squared plus 8 squared is equal to L squared. Take the square root. And I get my slant height is approximately 9.43. So 9.43 is my slant height. Okay, so now I've just got to fill all of this into my formula. Surface area is equal to area of my base plus 1/2 times the perimeter of the base times the slant height. So I've got 100 plus 1/2 times 40 times 9.43. So 100 plus, entering that all into my calculator, I get that my surface area is equal to 288.6 square units. Good? Okay, we've got one more practice problem here. So, area of my base. Well, in this case, I do not have the length of one of my sides, okay? So this is another different situation. But I do have this 4, and I know that that's half of the distance across. So this whole side would actually be 8. So now I can find the area of the base. 8 times 8 is 64. Perimeter of the base, I've got 4 sides. Since it's a square, one side is 8, so I get 32. My slant height. Automatically, when I look at this and I see this right triangle in here, I don't have the slant height, so I know I'm going to need to solve for it. And I'm using this right triangle. So if I draw that out over here, when I look at that, what I think to myself right away is it's a right triangle with 2 sides that are 4 and 5. So I would automatically think that the third side is going to be a 3. However, if I said that the hypotenuse was 3, that would be wrong because the hypotenuse has to be the longest side. I actually need to do Pythagorean theorem to figure out what is the slant height here. So 5 squared plus 4 squared. Square root of 41 is about 6.40. So that is my slant height. Okay, so surface area is equal to area of the base, I've got only one of them, plus 1/2 times the perimeter of the base times the slant height. That will give me the full surface area, all right? So base is the base, and then that second part gives me the area going around the triangular sides or faces, okay? So area of the base is 64 plus 1/2 times the perimeter of my base is 32 times 6.40 is my slant height. All right, so I get my full surface area is equal to 166.4 square units. And that is my final answer. Okay, so you will notice that on your independent practice today, there are 3 problems that are very similar to these 3. And then the next 3 are a bit more of challenge problems. It's just something for you guys to keep your minds working. They have some different shaped bases other than a square, and you're given different bits and pieces of information. So I highly recommend you give problems 4, 5, and 6 a try. If you're really struggling with them, look at the answer key. The answer key really walks you through how you can find them. And if you still have questions, feel free to email your teachers. We miss you guys. Contact us, okay? All right. So hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. We'll talk to you soon.